Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is the clicker.
Yeah, that's
And
the clicker.
the story was that I asked you if you want to join us here, and the first email you wrote me back was, sorry, no. And then I wrote a second time, and I really put some effort in my second email, and I was surprised that eventually in the second email you said, thank you for your nice email, I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not like I don't want to. It was just, there was so much going on. It's like, oh, do I need another thing on my plate? But here we are, and I'm very grateful to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and coming all the way from Alicante.
Yes, yes. Okay, guten Morgen. But that's how far my German goes, so don't get
Stage is
your
yours.
hopes up. Thank you very much. Okay, around 10 years ago, in a very similar setting like this, I was in the audience, and on the stage there was a professor who prompted us, the class, with a task. And the task was that in 1 week, you will need to present a business idea in front of the class. I was then in university, quit soon after because this thing changed my life. When I get this prompt, like just for the context, I've always back then have been this idea guy, you know, the entrepreneur, the guy who will say that, oh yeah, I could do the next Facebook as well, I just don't have money or I have these other obligations, you know. I was a big talker, but when it came to doing, not that much. I actually even opened a company in Latvia just to close it years later because nothing happened, but at least I had a name and a logo, but no customers or revenue. But when I got this assignment, I still remember how I was sitting in the audience and I thought to myself, you know, Giannis, enough with the excuses. In 1 week, you will come in front of the class and you will present a business idea that I'm able to start right now with my current obligations, with my 9 to 5, without needing any outside investments or anything like that. So I really don't have any excuses not to do it. And when I look back, I think it's kind of a good frame to have for all of us, for many different goals we create for ourselves, because I think these obstacles and excuses is such a common thing. But there's this beautiful thing called constraints, you know, where probably we can find an interesting way, an interesting angle how to go around them. So, okay, you know, I got this assignment, I went, I did my research, and the thing which I came up with was, you know, I started to discover this online business. I was reading blogs, and there was these people, you know, who travel to Thailand and these other places and work from their laptops, and I was like, wow, that is cool. I want some of that. So that's basically when this new North Star developed in my mind, which is to make a living online. You know, the presentation I gave to that class the week later, I don't know what it was. I think it involved Pinterest. It probably involved that I will do a little bit work on laptop, and a few weeks later I will be rich. Of course, none of that happened, but at least I had this new vision for my future. And as I was doing the research on this online business stuff, you might know this book, it just kept popping up everywhere on like all the blogs, all the nomads were mentioning it. I'm sure, how many of you have read it? All right, that's like almost everybody. But the thing is, a pretty lame fact about me that I was in my mid-20s and still to that day, I have never ever read a book in my life. In the school where there was these assignments to read the mandatory literature, I always somehow schemed my way and cheated and stuff like that because just I was not interested in it, and I somehow didn't develop the reading habit. So when I saw this book, it kept coming up, and the title is so enticing. I was like, God damn it, it's interesting. I want to know what's in there, but whatever. I don't read books, so I just kind of chugged along and went to YouTube. And in the YouTube, there was these two guys who were kind of discussing their favorite applications. And one of them mentioned Audible. and he said that he loves to listen to the books. And I was like, what? There's a thing called audiobooks? You can listen to books? So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe I can download Audible and listen to this 4-hour work week. And that's what I did. And again, the context, never read a book in my life. And I must say, like, at that time, I was like, I wouldn't say I was arrogant, but, you know, in my mid-20s, feeling like, I understand life. I'm good, you know, I understand stuff. And I still remember how I was pacing in my bedroom back in Latvia. And around 2 hours into this book, I had a thought of like, holy shit, Giannis, you have been such an idiot. Because basically what happened, I just realized there is so much I don't know. There is so much to learn. Like, I was living in a complete bubble, you know, in this false confidence. Okay, we lost the slides, and they're back. So we experienced this beautiful moment where I just understand that there is so much to learn. And basically from that day on, I became a complete self-help addict, downloaded all the books, stopped listening to music. You know, all my commutes to work went to went to audiobooks and podcasts. And yeah, that went on for years. So yeah, basically in a span of few months, I had this beautiful new vision for my future to make a living online, and I had no idea how to get there. And I started to question a lot of things which I thought were true, and just, yeah, tons of things to learn. All right, and today I just want to share with you several stories. We will bounce a bit all over the place. We will go very tactical. We will touch AI. We will talk inspiration and and some visuals and stuff. But before I do, I want to give you a little bit context about myself, because I have always appreciated when I research some people online, you know, when they share their income, they share like their path, you know, what happened. So I just want to give a quick overview about myself. So at the end of the spectrum, we have today, and there at the end of 2016, that was the moment when I got the prompt about to do my business presentation. So when it comes to audience, as you can see, since the moment when I wanted to build something and do something online until actually something started to happen, it was more than 3 years. So quite a lot of time. And that's like a cumulative audience across newsletter, all the social platforms, and stuff like that. When it comes to revenue, it went something like this. So when audience started to happen, some income started to take place as well. And that's like a cumulative revenue. Recently, I crossed $500,000 in total revenue across everything. So yay, the Giannis who did the business presentation probably would be very happy. But of course, one thing you learn about the business is that it's actually not that much when you take into consideration taxes and all the other good stuff which you early on don't think about. But yeah, if we look at the income streams, there is the green line at the bottom. That is basically just some other small things I have done. The blue thing is freelance, which primarily what I do is I illustrate nonfiction books and do illustrations for founders and stuff. And the yellow thing is my Explain Ideas Visually course and community, which is thus far the winner for me. When it comes to kids, I have 2 kids. My son, Vincent, was born in 2017, and Lila, as you can see, later. And if you can notice, there's an interesting pattern. When my wife was pregnant with the first kid, you know, I got the inspiration to do this business thing. When I had my second kid, some things started to happen, some momentum kicked in. So in my experience, kids are very good for business. And I want to make the third one, so, and then hopefully to get my like next big business milestone. No? Are we good? Yes, we are good. I will not touch it. Okay. So yeah, when it came to quitting 9 to 5, it happened at early 2021. Massive thanks to my wife, Linda, because without her, I would not probably pull the plug for a good while, because in my mind, there's no freaking way I will leave. Hello, 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 hello. Yes, we are back. So yeah, massive thanks to my wife, Linda, for helping me to quit 9 to 5, because in my mind, I was like, I can't quit 9 to 5 without earning any income, because as you can see, I had some audience, something started to happen, but I still made $0. But she saw how stressed I was in my 9 to 5 work, and she started to see that some momentum is taking place. So she told me to pull the plug, and I did. Of course, it wasn't a complete YOLO move. You know, we had some money saved up, so we kind of calculated that, okay, you know, she's now, we had some government support for the baby, you know, and when I quit my job, I can like get some more money. So we were kind of good for 2 years, even if we would earn nothing. And yeah, but like a side note on this, in general, I'm always like, have something that pays the bills before you pull the plug, because I think relying on your, at least when it comes to creative work and really trying to figure out like a lifestyle business, I feel it really sucks when you put the pressure to your creativity to earn kind of money when you need to. That is not cool. I have been there later on, you know, because you make your first money and you think, hell yeah, like everything is going to the moon, and it's not the case, and you raise your lifestyle and stuff like that, and then things can go south. So yeah, that happened. When it comes to nomadic lifestyle, which is associated with you know, with this online business stuff, it hasn't been really my case. I have been living in Latvia all my life. But when some stuff started to happen and business gained some momentum, and of course the weather outside in Latvia is mostly like this all the time, we decided to move to Spain, where we are living right now. Sun's amazing, it's awesome. Taxes, boo. Sun, yay. Okay, let's get a bit more practical. How to keep going without seeing progress? I think I can speak from experience here. First thing, I think, is just, you know, to realize that this period where nothing happens, actually a lot of things are happening. It just doesn't feel like progress, because what we are looking for is audience, money, dollars, numbers. And we usually discard things like experience and skills you acquire. And another thing when it comes to sticking to things when nothing is really happening, I think first of all, we must acknowledge that I think most of us are trying to build these things on the side. You know, we have something going on, we have our obligations and many other different things. And we are trying to squeeze in hour here and there, you know, to build our business, and that's how it starts for most people. So I think we need to stack the odds as much as possible into our favor. So one thing which is a bit, I think, counterintuitive to a lot of advice we hear is, I think it's good to be a quitter, but a quitter on the how, not on the what. You know, of course, if the what you want, what is your vision, if it's not great, you know, obviously you should probably quit on that one as well. But in this case, you know, we want to build this online business, we want this freedom, we want all these good things. It's a good what, you know, just don't quit on that thing. That's great. But the optionality, how you can get there, is just so different. Like, I don't know, I'm just kind of curious how many of you who have some sort of successful businesses thought that will be the business they will end up with, and how much like quitting and failure was there along the way. Like, I see some heads are nodding, and there are some are some stuff to this. And especially, when it comes to this online business and you're trying to build a lifestyle thing, it's not like you have a specific mission to build this particular business. You want the lifestyle, the stuff, and like how you get there. There's just so many different options. And that's one thing which I personally did. I tried many things. Like I tried to build a software product with partnering with a developer, tried podcasting, writing, many other things. One of the things I did was I decided I followed this nice YouTuber, Matt Diavella, who makes these self-help videos, very cinematic, very beautiful. I was like, I want to be that guy. Of course, I did what any responsible adult does, and while we were building a house and we had a loan for the house, I took 5,000 euros from that budget and bought camera equipment, all the fancy stuff, all the gear, everything. Had that, made beautiful videos. These are like, look, I have all the like coffee things. I made B-rolls where I'm climbing out of the bed and going in the morning to the bathroom, reading Atomic Habits, all the cinematic B-roll stuff. But of course, the content was crap. I couldn't bear looking at myself and hearing myself, and I was like, in order to succeed with this, like I need to pump these out every week. I need to get better. Like how much effort it will take to actually do that with like 9 to 5 and everything. I was like, no way. Like I maybe could do this like once a year, every now and then, because in general, I do like filmmaking. It's quite fun and interesting. But like to succeed as a creator and build something out of it, it felt like, this will not happen. But when I discovered visuals, what I do now, a lot of things aligned. Like my intrinsic motivation was off the charts when it comes to the process, which, by the way, tomorrow back in the hotel we will have Explain Ideas Visually workshop. So if you want to learn how to create these, be there tomorrow. Yeah, when it comes to visuals, a lot of the process is this brainstorming. For us who do have worked or work in corporate world, everybody loves to go to the whiteboard and sketch things out and brainstorm and sticky notes, and throw ideas here and there. And that's essentially 80% of the job when it comes to creating this sort of visuals. And then actually to put them on paper, not on paper, but whatever tool you use, it's actually not that hard, and it's quite easy. So it felt, first of all, very intrinsically motivating. Again, it's short form communication. As I said, I don't read books, so it's like I'm all about quick nuggets here and there. So a lot of things aligned for my particular skill set and values and et cetera, et cetera. And also it was very possible kind of to maintain the consistency when it comes to this, because obviously you need some sort of consistency to build some audience and reputation, and this felt sustainable. Yeah, here's just two more visuals. And one more thing, we now kind of talked about how to keep going when things are not going, so we quit on the things which are not working and we're trying to figure things out. But I think another thing where this is super valuable is actually how to find your thing, like what is your life's work or whatever, especially if you want to find and have this strong alignment of lifestyle, business, etc., etc. I think the process of elimination is kind of, I think, how we get there, because it's so hard to just know what you want, and you start with this in this clueless but curious phase, and just by trying these things and failing countless times, I think you end up in this kind of clarity area where like, okay, I see some alignment here, this is good, and after that the results come. Some other fun things I did when I was chasing my dream is I had this running fitness challenge with my friend Tuoms, where basically for a year we just, every day agreement was everybody figures out their own fitness challenges, whatever, some push-ups, some sit-ups, doesn't matter. And we just need to report each other, like, did it? And if you didn't do it, you send the other person €1. Just a fun little accountability thing. And when I started to do these visuals, I said, Tuoms, I will need to post one visual on Twitter every single day as well. I just layer that on top of our agreement. So we had some exchanges, not every day everything happened, but in general it was a nice little accountability thing. So making stupid bets with good friends is not a bad idea. This is me having a very important glass of wine. Because years ago, when I made my first money, I don't know how, I think my first kid was born, and I figured out that, I will not drink alcohol until my side hustle will make me 10,000 euros. I didn't end up drinking for like 3.5 years, which I thought will be less, but here we are, and this is the first glass of wine I had when I made my first income. So again, another silly, stupid thing to do. By the way, I have not made such commitments ever since, so if somebody after the event want to grab a beer with me, I'm down. And another thing, when it comes to kind of sticking when things are not working, here you don't really need advice because you are already doing that. You are part of the citizen circle, and I think you can all relate that it's a lot easier to kind of go ahead and do stuff and get support when you have people around you. This is something I actually took very long time to learn from me. I only discovered some online communities and peers when I started actually to build some audience and make some money. Before that, none of my friends really were into something similar. I was a bit of a lone wolf, and like the only thing that helped me early on was these audiobooks and podcasts. I was just constantly brainwashing myself with these mentors in my ears, hearing the stories and getting inspiration from there, and that also helped me not to kind of quit on this dream. But I think if you have the possibility, which you are all doing, having like-minded people around you is absolutely amazing. So next thing, when it comes to like building brand, content creation, I feel I have so much to learn. I still feel like a beginner. I think there's many things I do wrong, but I can't deny that some amazing things have happened to me from kind of my journey when I started to create content and few of the principles which I adapt. Some of the great things which have happened to me when I started posting visuals on Twitter, it was, I think I had less than 1,000 followers at that time, and I don't know if you know Julian Shapiro, but he's a great entrepreneur and he has a really nice blog. I really admired this guy, and he just appeared in my DMs one day. I just fell off the chair, like, what is happening? Why you are writing me? It didn't make any sense for me. And how I got hired for the first freelance gig, which maybe some of you listened to My First Million podcast, where Sean Perry is one of the guests. Any My First Million listeners here? Or that's one? We have one. Yeah, another guy which I kind of admired, and the thing he did was, there was this other visual illustrator, Jack Butcher, which was just way ahead of me. I think he was just not available for hire at all. So the Sean Perry guy wanted to help with some illustrations on his presentation, and he just put out on Twitter, like, who is the next Jack Butcher here? Someone great at turning complicated concepts into simple images. And like tons of people from my audience started to tag me. I was absolutely blown away by this kind of support. And then the next thing that happens, like Jack Butcher and Sean is doing a warm intro to connect me and Sean, which I was like, why are you even trying to do a warm intro? Just write me, I obviously will reply. So that's how I ended up getting my first freelance gig. And just like a side note, which was an interesting experience, again, I'm from Latvia. We have small salaries. Now I'm in this position where a guy who I know sold his company for 20 million to Twitch is reaching out to me to do some illustrations for him. And I knew he was from San Francisco, and I was like, how much should I even ask? So I did like what every reasonable person would do, is like, design salaries in San Francisco. And I remember I emailed him, like, he wanted to hire me for like 3 weeks part-time to do the presentation. And I was like, I just kind of closed my eyes and I sent him like $10,000, just like way above, like insane money to me, insane at that time. And he's, it's a bit outside my, but can we do 8? Yes, of course, let's do 8. So that's how I got my first freelance gig. And obviously since then, like a lot of authors have reached out to me to license some of my illustrations and create illustrations from them. Like Adam Grant has reached out to license one illustration, like Jefferson Fisher, who is a big communicating dude on Instagram, wanted some illustrations, and many others. And like, I have not reached out to any of them. All these opportunities have come to me without even me trying to position myself as an illustrator, and not as a book illustrator. Like in general, of course, they see illustrations, it's very much on brand. Oh, I see this type of content helps to explain ideas. I see it gets attention, you know, I want some of that, can I hire you? Obviously, the exchange there is quite simple, but still, it's quite amazing that those opportunities kind of came to me. And I think it's still applicable, these principles, which I will share now with you, is still applicable to any niche. So the first one is respect your audience's attention. That's something I really hold very near and dear to my heart. Of course, we must be careful here, not to be too much of a perfectionist. But like the framework, how I like to think here, just think a bit. When you go online and you see the feed, whatever, on Instagram, Substack, Twitter, doesn't matter. Like, what are you seeing? Are you seeing, like, is the person sharing just tons of memes which you are not interested in, maybe just retweeting a bunch of other people's stuff and doesn't have any of his own takes, or he have genuine, interesting insights, and like when you scroll his feed, there's high signal to noise ratio. Because when I think about this, I like to think of this as a bit like a spectrum. Like, people, when they see your content, they get the impression, I want to pay attention to this or ignore. And I think with every post, with every interaction online, you kind of are moving on this spectrum to the one end or the other one. Of course, if you share a lot of good stuff, and of course, good is very contextual here. Like, you understand, you know, some might appreciate that, some other people might appreciate that. You know your audience, you know what type of people you are targeting with. So it's just good to be mindful of what you are sharing and what type of impression it creates for those people. Of course, if you post a lot of good stuff, you build a lot of trust, a lot of reputation. Like, they might be very forgiving when you have a launch week and you just do tons of self-promotion and stuff. They will forgive you and all is good. But of course, early on, you know, you can very easily end up here and be kind of forgotten. So it's just a good frame of mind to have, like, when I will share this, like, where I'm falling on this spectrum. Am I just creating noise, which will make people, next time they will see my name on the feed, more likely to just skip ahead, or no? And like, this is something I actually struggle myself, and I don't know the right answer, because I have created tons of visuals, like, for myself, maybe not in thousands, but definitely in hundreds. And I reuse a lot of my content. And especially now, like, last months have been very, very busy. And I want to keep the content engine going. So I'm resharing a lot of my visuals, but I'm very conscious that a lot of long-time followers, oh, Yanis again reposting his old stuff, you know, and they just skip ahead because they have seen it. And I'm creating this new feeling in them. But at the same time, a lot of new people have joined my audience, and they would appreciate seeing some of the old stuff, you know? So it's tricky. There's no right or wrong answer, but I think it's just a good frame to have. Another one, very basic, just be a genuine, nice human. Say thanks, engage with others. You know, the law of reciprocity is a thing. And when I go back to how Sean reached out and people commented mentioning me as a great illustrator, most of the comments which I saw under there, I have engaged with those people. They have said thanks to my work or whatever, and they have appreciated my work, and have taken the time to say thank you to them, have some DM conversations, etc., etc., etc. So it's just a very basic thing, but worth to remind, because online and offline is kind of quite similar if you want to build relationships. Acknowledge people's feelings. This is an interesting one. When I was early in my content creation journey, I had kids, so I was reading a lot of parenting books. And if you have read a lot of parenting books, I think it's a common theme in those books that they mentioned, acknowledge kids' feelings, and that sort of stuff. You can't just give them advice and constantly boss them around. You need to acknowledge their feelings first, then you can give some advice and stuff. And I thought, it's kind of the same for adults as well. Just example, not real example, but if I come home, after a hard day of work and I open my doors and my wife is there and she's like, well, you look tired. Well, you shouldn't drink beer in the evening. I was like, I don't want to hear that, but if I open the doors and, oh, honey, you look tired. Was it a hard day at work? Yes, honey, it was a hard day at work. And now we are starting a conversation from a completely different place, And I thought, why can't I apply this online? Because I had 3 years being a struggling creator, so I had a lot of experience around creative struggles and stuff like that. So this is actually my first super viral post, which went on Twitter, where I basically just 4 loops that cause creative struggle, learn, never apply, start a new idea all the time, never finish, improve, publish, classic perfectionist, and the overthinker, who just thinks, but never takes action. And content like this, and of course this, who can relate to this? I'm sure everyone, though half of the room are liars here. So this stuff works, people like that we show some vulnerability and just show our flaws. Nobody likes this know-it-all person. But saying all of this about kind of respecting your audience's attention, having high signal to noise ratio, I think a good thing to mention here is consistency versus perfectionism. Because it is a thing, and I'm sorry, but I don't have a good answer here. It's a bit vibes, There is a balance, but what I like to do myself, I'm really cautious of this principle of try to move the ball forward every single day. It doesn't mean you need to post something every single day, but at least listen to 15 minutes of a podcast. If it's a bad day, you don't have time to work on your thing or whatever, just do something to get the ball moving forward every single day. Because I think momentum really works both ways. If you get those checkboxes going, it's really easy to keep going. But when you start to miss a day, miss another day, the negative aspects really compound as well. So I think momentum works both ways. So let's at least try to move the ball forward every single day. And when it comes to perfectionism, it's are you at least shipping something, You can't be into this place where you're just constantly, it's almost perfect. And you're 3 months later, it's almost done, soon. You need to find this balance of it's good enough, let's ship it, let's maybe improve it later. Versus just trying to perfect things. Okay, the boogeyman in the room, AI. How many of you use AI? I'm sure everybody. How many of you would consider themselves vibe coders, who have used Claude Code and do some stuff? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there are some. Nice. With AI, last 2 years have been crazy. I feel back then it was, life's all right. It's all good. We're coasting along. And when AI came into the world, I feel at least twice a month I'm having an existential crisis. Just at moments I'm let's fucking go. It's amazing. Yeah, to the moon. And then it's oh my God, we're screwed. We're all gonna be fired and eliminated. And then again, I'm in the peak. Thinking everything will be awesome. So it's a complete roller coaster, super exhausting. But the more I have kind of used AI and started to play around with different things I can automate and create, I'm definitely getting more optimistic. So instead of giving you a big rant on what I think about AI, I'll just share a few things which I have created for myself, which is super interesting. And all of you can do this. Whoever raised hands who are vibe coders, I'm sure they can relate when I say that it might feel overwhelming to get in this automation phase and starting to build your own apps. It feels super overwhelming. It was the same case for me. But like you can get over that hump super quickly because like you don't need how to code. And like, yeah, but you need to be an engineer, you know, to understand how the architecture works and this and that. Well, kinda, yes, but you can ask AI, you know, hey, how you would approach this, you know? I see this person is doing this and that person is doing that. Like, how does that work? You know, what does this thing mean? And it's like, it's very quick to learn and move ahead. So, for example, one thing which I have built, I have this agent called Bozo. He's a bit of a goofball, but he's nice and smart. And basically, every time somebody buys my course, I automatically get a Slack message into my Slack. It shows who is the customer. It already is connected with my local like analytics. It shows from where they come from. It shows like, has it consumed my newsletter before? I'm waiting when my email, whatever, will enable some things so I can actually see right away there, hey, by the way, you have conversation with this client, with this customer. Also, it does like other cool stuff in the back end. Like another cool thing which I'm recently built and I'm very excited about is like when people join my course and community, they fill in a quick welcome screen, or if they don't, it doesn't matter. In my Slack, I can just be on my walk and instantly see, okay, somebody joined and I'm on my walk. I record the video on my Slack. I click send, and immediately, minutes later, the new student gets a completely personalized message from me, a video directed only to him, and it takes me a few seconds. And like, I know when it comes to AI, a lot of thoughts are like, oh, it's just slop, you know. Yes, if I want to, I can make 1,000 blog articles on whatever topic you choose tomorrow, but I don't want to do it. But these things, these automations and different things you can build enables me to do much more of the things I want, which is completely personalized communication to my clients and customers. So yeah, that's very exciting. Super pumped on this. Another example, when Tim reached out for this presentation, I, as you can say, started working on it quite early, May 13th. But basically in Slack, I just create a thread. I say to my AI, hey, I will leave a bunch of voice notes here. I just want you to dump them in one MD file. And I go on my morning walks. I'm not sitting at computer, having fresh air, sun in my eyes, and just speaking out different ideas I would like to communicate with you today. And all this is nicely arranged in a nice MD file, which I later can sit down then and analyze and do stuff with it, etc., etc., etc. So super cool, super exciting. There's so much more to build. After the talk, we can, whoever wants to geek out about vibe coding, I'm all down for that. there's much more I can share. So one thing with which I would like to end is I have this favorite quote from Brendan Burchard, which is, believe in your abilities to figure things out. And what I love about this quote is that you're not really lying to yourself. Because when it comes to affirmations, you know, you might have $0 in your bank account and you're sitting at the mirror and like, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. But you know that you are actually poor and that's what you believe in. But when you say to yourself, like, I believe in my abilities to figure things out, I think that phrase holds a lot of power because you're not lying to yourself. And when you look at the past, there are so many times when you can probably, you thought you can't do something, but the end you did, you know, like when I started to learn to drive a car, you know, it's just like, oh my God, the thing and the steering wheel, like how I can possibly do this. And of course now I'm driving and sorry, you know, sometimes even eating a hot dog, you know, or speaking on phone and feeling super comfortable driving. So it's just like, you have a lot of evidence in the past that you can do things in the future for whatever thing is that you are trying to do. That's it from me. Thank you so much for listening. Now, one more thing. This was my first ever thing on stage. So can I grab a selfie with you? It's just, I don't know when I will have such opportunity again. Woo! Nice. Thank you. Thank you. A selfie video. I will say no. I will not say no to a content. Okay. Again. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Nice. Thank you so much. So, what do I do now?
Thank you for being. I think Dennis can
I'll
help you later. No.
I'll go there.
Yanis, thank you very much for being on our stage for the first time that you actually do it. And you said you want to do it more in the future. How do you feel now?
It was fun. It's a good energy. I feel like it's just in this space, you know, the couches and the vibes are so just like, I don't know, easier to get in the mood. It's good fun. It's nice. Cool.
Awesome. It was extremely inspiring because you take us on this journey of feelings that we all know, like feeling scared, feeling worried, but at the same time lifting us up. So very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And I'm looking forward tomorrow, Explain Ideas Visually workshop. More technical, more if you want to do the visual thing. Though, like I saw there was not that much hands going up in terms of vibe coding. Maybe we can do like 45 minutes visual training and then 15 minutes vibe coding training.
Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. I mean,
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.